Okay, right. So last week, in the traditional classroom setting, so I did a lecture on strategic human resource management. So that is second lecture on strategic human resource management. So these three objectives. So I did draw your attention to these three objectives. The first one, apply a workable approach to develop a strategy-oriented HRM system. So then I did the relevant material and also two exercises about the strategy-oriented HRM system. So then that was done. Hopefully, you can apply a workable approach to develop a strategy-oriented HRM system. You got the right knowledge. And then the second one, to know a set of criteria for evaluating the degree of success of HRM in an organization. So I discuss a set of criteria for evaluating the degree of success of HRM. So under that, can you remember, I discussed three dimensions of evaluation. Evaluation by HRM function, evaluation by achievement of HRM goals and objectives, and then evaluation by HR department. Evaluation by HR department. So, okay, can you hear me? Are you all right? Are you all right? Just one can respond, yes. Are you all right?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Sorry?
We can hear you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Okay, then today what I'm going to do is I will do certain exercises regarding this second objective, and then I will deal with the third objective after that. So these things, you can remember the strategy-oriented HRM system, then the 7 steps. And then this is an approach to develop a strategy-oriented HR system, HRM system. So this is one exercise. Then another exercise relating to academic setting. So that was done. And then we came to evaluation of the success of HRM and the HR scorecard. Yet we have not come to HR scorecard, but this part, yes. What is evaluation and why is it important to do an evaluation of the HR function? Several reasons were discussed. And then I emphasized these events which writing. So you can remember then the dimensions of evaluation, 3 dimensions. The first one was on evaluating the quality and quantity of each HRM function. Then evaluating the degree to which the HRM objectives and strategic goals have been achieved, and then how well and how far the relevant HR department of the organization has performed. That's the third dimension. So exhibit 21, I discuss fully. Then last week, yes. Then this one, exhibit 21st, 12, that was done. And then exhibit 21, 13. So that also was done, right? So then we will, go to an exercise. This one. Yes, this one. So before doing this exercise, refresh your knowledge by using this this exhibit, this one. Okay, this one. So there are certain metrics or measures or statistics or criteria simply for evaluation of the effectiveness of the HR department. When you are supposed to evaluate the effectiveness of HR department, you can use objective criteria, also subjective criteria. So these are some examples of objective criteria. Objective criteria. Okay, so these are examples of some examples of subjective criteria. You know that subjective criteria are difficult to define, difficult to quantify, difficult to measure, difficult to verify. But relatively objective criteria are not difficult to define. They are easy to define, easy to measure, easy to quantify, and easy to verify. Okay, all right. Then let us do this exercise. So following information is given to you with regard to the HR departments of 3 companies engaged in insurance industry. So here there are 3 departments: the HR department of company A, the HR department of company B, the HR department of company C. So here a set of information has been given. My left side, in the first column, yes. So then the respective figures for the respective firms or the companies. So you can see in column 2, column 3, and column 4. Yes, take the first one. What you are supposed to do is, which department is the most successful? The most successful one. And why? So there are 3 HR departments relating to 3 companies. Relating to 3 companies, there are 3 HR departments. So you are supposed to do an evaluation with regard to each department and then decide which one is the best in terms of the effectiveness. The effectiveness. Take this first one here, the HRM department budget. So HRM department budget. So directly, we simply by looking at the HR department budget, we cannot say department A is better or department B is better. So likewise we can't say, or department C is better. So this information itself is not sufficient. So therefore we have to develop a matrix. We have to develop a kind of criteria. Then by using which we will be able to rank these 3 departments. Okay, so we can use the efficiency, efficiency, HR department's efficiency. How can we get the efficiency? The HRM department budget, HR department budget. Okay, here we have the HR department budget, then divided by population. Population of employees served. Employees served. employee itself. Okay, can you do that? So department budget here we have, then the number of employees, the second item, number of employees. So what you can do is 40 lakhs here, 40 lakhs, you can divide by 1,000. You can divide by 1,000. Then you will get a figure. You will get a figure. Yes. What is that? I hope you are doing along. If you have already done, then you can tell me.
4,000.
4,000, yes. Easy? Yes. 4,000. Then this one. This one, 3,235. Then this one, 2,647. If I make a mistake because the computer is screen, I'm finding it difficult. But anyway, I can manage. I can manage. Not like you. You are very young. So then, if I make a mistake, then you tell me. Right. So then, okay. Now, the efficiency, HR department efficiency. So that was taken by the figure, which we got by, yes, the department budget divided by the number of employees, By using that figure, we can rank now. We can rank. How can we rank? The larger the number, the better, or, smaller the number, the better. If the figure is, smaller, so that means effectiveness is high. Effectiveness is high. The greater the number, then the lesser the lesser the effectiveness of the department of HRM is. The smaller the number, the higher the degree of higher the degree of effectiveness of the HRM department. I think you can understand. If you have a question, raise. Okay, so then this is the first place goes to department company C. Then second place second place goes to company B. Then third place goes to company A. Company. Okay, now third item, complaints about weaknesses of the services given by the HR department. Can we use this directly for the purpose of ranking, for the purpose of evaluation? Yes, we can. Directly we can use. So then the smaller the number or lower the number of complaints, the better the effectiveness of the HR department. So therefore the first place, then third place this one second place. Time is going, but anyway, while I am doing, you can come to the next one. So then number of human resource professionals. This item can be used directly. Number of, human resource professional usually doesn't make any sense, when it comes to evaluation. When it comes to evaluation. Simply, the greater the number, the better the degree of effectiveness, we can't say. We can't say. So therefore, we have to, develop a matrix or a criterion, which is a useful one for the purpose of evaluation. For the purpose of evaluation. Okay, here we have the, the number of employees and the number of human resource professionals. So then how many employees served by one human resource professional? That we can calculate. That we can calculate. So then number of employees here 1000 divide by 5. Divide by 5. Then you will get, okay, this one, the number of employees per HR professional. That is the criterion. Number of employees per HR professional. As a criterion, okay, we can, this one capital, then this one capital, right? The number of employees per HR professionals. Okay, this one 200. This one 141. This one 340. 340. So now how do you interpret? How can you use this for the evaluation purpose? What is the rule? What is the decision rule? The greater the number, the better the degree of effectiveness, or the smaller the number, lower the number. Higher, lower, larger, smaller, adjectives, it's okay, don't worry about. Yes. The higher the number, the better the degree of effectiveness of the HR department. When the number of employees per HR professional, when that number gets increased, the degree of effectiveness of the HR department will also get increased. When the number of employees for HR professional goes down, the degree of effectiveness of the HR department also goes down. Understood? Right. So then what does this mean, What does this mean? 340. So that means one HR person serves 340. But here, one HR person serves only 141. Here, 200. So therefore, as far as this item is, is concerned, the best department is this one. Best department is this one. Then the second one is this one. Then the third one is this one. Third one is this one. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? But we have to make an assumption that reasonably, we should not, one HR profession, one HR professional, has the capacity of serving a certain number of employees. So the assumption is here, we don't try to exploit the labor of the HR professional. We don't try to exploit. So assume this number is reasonable, so HR person can do that. So maybe another situation of this HR person here handles personal files of 340 employees. At the moment, assume burnout. The person is suffering from a burnout, a serious stress. Then the situation is, something else. The degree of effectiveness of the HR department is not good. So therefore, assume, here the assumption is the HR person can handle. The HR person has been given with the facilities and the resources in order to successfully manage No, 340 people. Okay, all right. Then the HR department cost, maintenance. This figure can be used directly. Can we use directly? No, we can't. Then we have to develop a metric or criterion like HR department. Okay, HR department cost per HR department cost per employee. That we can calculate. HR department cost per employee. 2 lakhs. Here, okay, 2 lakhs, the HR here, the 2 lakhs, can be divided by number of employees, 1,000. Okay, then you will get 200. Here 200. Here 200. Here 164. 164. Then which one is the best? This one. Then the second, because the same figures for both HR departments, A and B. So therefore ranking the second place goes to both departments. Okay, then employees' ratings of quality of service provided by the HR department on a 10-item 5-point scale. So that means there are 10 question statements, and then there is a 5-point scale. Strongly agree, no agree, indifferent, disagree, strongly disagree. I hope you can understand the scaling of the measurement instrument. Yes. That is, the item is employees' rating of quality of service. Can we use this one as a criterion directly? Yes, we can. Maximum 5 point. So therefore you can see, okay, the greater the number, the better the effectiveness of the HR department. Therefore, first place goes to company C, second place goes to company B, third place goes to company A. Company A. Okay, then next one, percentage of due responses to each request brought to the HR department. Each request brought to the HR department, due responses to each request. Can we consider this as a criterion which can be used directly, for the purpose of evaluation? Here ranking, yes, we can. Directly we can. Then the greater the percentage, the better the degree of effectiveness. So therefore, first place goes to company C, second place goes to company B, third place goes to company A. Company A. Okay, then line manager satisfaction about the services of the HR department. Line manager satisfaction about the services of the HR department. Can you use as a criterion directly? Yes, we can. Out of 5 points. So then the greater the number, the better or higher the degree of effectiveness. Then first place goes to company C, second place goes to company B, third place goes to company A. Okay, now it is clear that, HR, with regard to each criterion, the HR department of company C got the first place. Then it is obvious that the best department in terms of effectiveness of HR department, the best company is company C, or the best HR department is the department of company C. No, also you can, you can calculate the total. You can calculate the total. So assume my calculation is correct. Assume my calculation is correct. 7 for company C, then 16 for company B, then 16, the same number for company C. Sorry, company A. Assume maybe my calculation is wrong. You do that. So assuming that my totaling is right, then I got 7 for company C, then 16 for company B, then 16 for company A. Then here, this is ranking, the rank values, not absolute numbers. These are relative numbers. So therefore, the lowest, the 7, the department which got the lowest is the best in terms of its effectiveness. Okay, simple evaluation. But the difficulty is to get these figures, to get these values. That is not that easy. After getting, criteria, the values for criteria, then evaluation doesn't become very difficult. For example, can you understand, how to get this one? The line manager satisfaction about the services of HR department. By nature, that is subjective. That is a subjective criteria. Then how do you measure that? We have to develop a particular instrument to measure it. Particular instrument to measure it. Let me show one example. One measure, that we can use. Look at this one. Line manager satisfaction about the services of HR department. An instrument like this we can prepare. Then we can test the reliability of this instrument, internal reliability as well as external reliability of this instrument. At least internal reliability by using Comprach alpha. And then we can test or we can argue that this instrument possesses an adequate degree of validity, because the instrument should be valid, also the instrument should be reliable, also the practicability of the instrument should be there. I hope you can understand, there are 3 properties at least with regard to an instrument to be made successful for the purpose of usage in evaluation. If the instrument is not reliable, if the instrument is not valid, if the instrument is not practical, then we should not use such an instrument. Then we will get, wrong values. So I know you can understand what is validity. We want to measure line manager satisfaction. Therefore, we want to make sure that, we should make sure that all these question statements do measure line manager satisfaction. Line manager satisfaction about the services rendered by the HR department, not something else. Then if these 10 questions, genuinely, significantly measure line manager satisfaction about the services of the HR department, not something else, then we can argue that this instrument is valid. When I was teaching about, human resourcing, staffing, I seriously discussed about validity, reliability, and practicability of examinations, employment examination. The same knowledge, can be applied here also. Okay, simply you can't develop, you can't develop question items and then measure. Right. So likewise, we have to develop, with regard to subjective criteria, we have to develop instruments. Oh, this one, no problem. This is objective. This is an objective criteria. So directly we can calculate, percentage of due responses. For example, assume, last month we got 100 requests. In the last month, we responded to 75 requests successfully. And then the percentage is 75. Percentage is 75. 75 divided by 100 multiplied by 100. So in that way, you can calculate the percentage. Then this one, employees rating of quality of service, that is a subjective one. We have to develop an instrument. So in this example, 10 items. This one, no problem. HR department cost, an objective one. This one, number of human resource, number of employees for HR professional, an objective one. No problem. This one, complaints about weaknesses, an objective one. Efficiency, this one also, an objective one. Okay, all right. Any questions? There is one weakness with regard to this type of evaluation. This evaluation is simple. This ranking is simple. However, one limitation of this ranking is that, all these criteria, objective and subjective criteria, have been considered as equally important. Equally, these criteria, equally contribute to the success of, the degree of effectiveness of the HR department. In reality, that is not. They are not equally contributing. Some criteria are more important. Some criteria are more important than other criteria. For example, as far as these items are concerned, line manager satisfaction about services of the HR department is more important. Is more important than, this, like this one. The number of employees for HR professionals. This one is more important. We can have a, higher figure like this. But if, line managers are dissatisfied with the services given by the HR department, that is terrible. Because HR department is a service department that gives a service role, that plays a service role to other departments. So like, you look at these items, question items, you see. The first one, services of HR department were useful for settlement of almost all problems relating to my staff. The one line manager, responds to this question. So we strongly agree. Then, the HR department is giving a very big service. So therefore, we can introduce weights. We can introduce weights and then we can multiply. When we introduce weights, then, we have to, we should get absolute numbers rather than, getting relative numbers. If we introduce weights, then for this ranking, we have to give marks. Maybe for the first place, we can give 10 marks. 10 marks. For the second place, we can give 7 marks. For the third place, we can give 5 marks, or maybe, yes, here we have 3, no? Right, maybe 3, then 6. For the first place, 10 marks, or we can give 9 marks. No problem. Then we have to multiply. We have to multiply by the weights. Assume the weight, out of 100 for this criterion, we gave 10. And then we have to multiply it by 10. This one also multiplied by 10. This one also multiplied by 10. So this one, this one, line manager satisfaction about the services, for this we gave, okay, 9 marks, then the marks 3 here, this one 6. For the first place we give 9 marks, then multiplied by, so we give to this criterion 20. Out of 100 weights, we give 20 as well. Then multiplied by 20. Multiplied by 20. So likewise. Of course, in this example, it is very clear that department C becomes the best. But in some cases, because of weights, maybe the department, another department may get ranked as the best. So it is possible. But in this example, it is not possible. It's very clear that, because for each criterion, the department C, becomes best. Therefore, it is obvious that, we can increase the rigor in evaluation. Even though if we increase the rigor in the evaluation, the final result will be the same. Practically, many managers like to reduce the rigor of evaluation. But anyway, academically, normally we are interested in making the evaluation more comprehensive, more complex, more rigorous. Okay, I think you understood. Then let me go to another exercise. Okay, Nuka, have a serious look at this. Your note doesn't have this one. Your note doesn't have this one. So this has not been given in your note. So then have a serious look. Following is a set of information collected about quality of HRM being practiced by 3 firms. 3 firms. Try to understand firm A, firm B, firm C. Then my question is, based on the above information, what type of evaluation is it possible? Perform the evaluation and rank the firms in terms of quality of HR. Right, what is the type of evaluation it is possible? What is the type of evaluation it is possible? This one. This one. This one. Criteria for evaluation of efficiency and effectiveness of HRM functions. Therefore, it is possible to evaluate efficiency and effectiveness of HR functions of these 3 firms. So therefore, this exercise, this exercise is about Evaluation by HR function. Evaluation by HR function. They now perform the evaluation and then rank the firms in terms of quality of HR. Can you do that? If you have a good understanding about HRM, the previous knowledge, then this is, this is not difficult. Okay, let us take this one. Employee satisfaction about behavioral elements of job design. Right. Which HRM function does this criterion measure? Can you identify? Job analysis. No, not job analysis, job design. This here clear. Job design. Job design function, is evaluated by using this criterion, which is a subjective criterion. Then 3 out of 5 point scale here, firm A. Then 3.7 here, firm B. Then firm C, 3.1. Then easy to rank now. Easy to rank one. Now, the first place goes to firm B. Second place goes to firm C. Third place goes to firm A. Any questions? If you understood, it's okay. If you don't understand, then raise questions. The number of jobs covered by job description and analysis. This is job analysis function. Measuring this criterion measures the quality of job analysis. Of course, we can use several criteria, but at least we have to have one criterion to measure the success of one particular HRM function, because this is evaluation by HR functions. Not the earlier one, Earlier one is evaluation by the effectiveness of HR department. Right, number of jobs covered by job description and job specification. And directly we can use this one, right. The first place goes to firm B. Second place goes to firm A. Third place goes to firm C. Because in firm C, if there are 100 jobs, only for 50 jobs, job descriptions and job specifications are available. That means the quality of the job analysis function is of at moderate level. But here at good level. But here very good level. Only there are 10 jobs which do not have JD and Js in firm B. But it's still not 100% success. As far as this criteria is concerned, we can reach 100%. And then job analysis function, as far as that item is concerned, we can judge that that function has been, performed very well to the maximum extent. So that means if there are 100 jobs, there are 100 JDM, or all the 100 jobs have, each job has JD and Js. Okay, then any surplus or shortage happen. This measures human resource planning function. The success of human resource planning. The shortage of 15 production employees, shortage of 2 technical officers, shortage of, when the number becomes higher, the quality of human resource planning goes down. So if you do human resource planning properly, ideally there should not be any surplus or shortage. But you know that human resource planning is an approximation. So therefore, there might be surpluses and shortages with regard to certain jobs. Right. Then first place goes to firm B. Second place goes to firm C. Third place goes to firm A. Then percentage of employees selected based on validated selection methods. Validated selection methods. The higher the percentage, the better the quality of selection. Or greater the quality of selection. Therefore, first place goes to B. Second place goes to C and A as well. Then percentage of new employees inducted. First place goes to. Then the second place, third place. Then rating of quality of induction received by inductees. Here, there are two criteria here. Measuring the quality of induction function. This one is an objective criterion, measuring the quality of induction function. This one is the subjective criteria, rating of quality of induction received by inductees. First place goes to C. Second place. Then percentage of employees who received performance feedback from multiple sources. Multiple sources, using 360 degree. The higher the percentage, the greater the quality of what function? Performance evaluation function. First place, second place, third place. The number of hours of training received by employees per year. Simply, greater the number, the better. First place, second place. The rating of quality of training received by trainees. Now, this is also a criterion, a subjective criterion used to measure the quality of training function. So then the same rating, for all the three firms, so then we can ignore that. Or we can do that first, or the second, for all the three, the same number. The rating of quality of training received by trainees now. First place. Second place. Third place. The percentage of jobs evaluated as per point method, job evaluation. This one 100%. Very good. First place, then the second place, then the third place. Then our top and departmental manager satisfaction about pay management. First, second, third. Percentage of employees received welfare. First, second. The percentage of workforce whose merit pay is tied to performance. Incentives, invariable pay. First place. Greater the percentage, the better the quality of the incentive management. Availability of a scheme for each type of employee movement. Yes, for managerial movements. Yes, for all. Yes, for non-managerial employees, right? Then the first place, this one. Then, to which company should we give the second place? This one or this one. Then you have to make an assumption, you know, assumption of managing managers. Assume managing managers is better than managing non-managers. Then assume that. Then second place goes to company A, third place goes to company C. Employees' rating of quality of health and safety management. First place, second place, third place. Then percentage of employees who have not violated a single rule of discipline. First place, second place, third place. Then employees, trade unions, ratings of quality of management of employee grievances. First place, second place, third place. The number of industrial actions occurred. None. First place, this one, second place. So then our assumption is, you know, our assumption is the gravity or the impact of each industrial action is same. You know, practically it is possible that, so assume here only one industrial action, that was a strike, that, you know, that continued for 5 days. But this one here, you know, two picketings and one is strike, which continued for only 2 days. Then the gravity, bad impact of this, you know, becomes, you know, higher than the impact of these 3. You know, practically you have to think of that. So therefore, you know, we have to make assumptions. Number of industrial actions. Or we can simply take number of strikes only. Because the impact of a strike is greater than that of a picketing. Overtime ban. Okay, so then you can get the, you know, the totals, and then the company that got the least value should be the best. Okay, so in terms of the quality of HRM function, one weakness of this simple evaluation is that all the HR functions, you know, have been considered as equally important. Is that right? Can we consider all HR functions, you know, as equally important? Can we? Use your knowledge so far. You have done many subjects. And theoretically, according to my model, you know that there are 18 HRM functions, starting with job design and ending with labor relations. Are all these 18 functions equally important to the quality of the HRM? Or do all these functions, you know, give an equal contribution to the quality of HRM? Or the impact of HR on various organizational things, do they equally contribute? Any students, you know, I expect at least one response from one of the students. Please unmute and then respond. At least just to indicate that you are with me.
No, sir.
No. Your answer is no. Your answer is no, yes. Okay, then, so that means they are not equally important, correct? Then give one reason, one general theory, or one reason, a specific reason, you know, to conclude that all the HR functions are not equally contributing to quality of HRM and then, you know, the success of the business organization. At the final analysis, we have to think of the success of the business, achieving the strategic goals of the organization. One theory, high performance work system theory. Can you remember? High performance work system theory. There are certain HR functions, which are considered as functions which give high performance, high impact. Another one, HR cycle, a general theory. The general theory I discussed, please go to my first lecture. It was about advanced aspects of introduction to HRM. Then on that topic, I discussed about something called HR cycle, which has basically 4 major functions: selection, rewards, performance appraisal, and training and development. So remember, these 4 functions are very important. They are more important than other HR functions, like human resource planning, But maybe one can argue that human resource planning gives the foundation for recruitment and selection. And then if you can argue like that, then the equal, weights can be given. But training definitely is more important than many HR functions. Performance evaluation is more important than many HR functions because of performance evaluation, we can do a lot of things. Productivity, achievement of strategic goals of the organization, it's very important to do performance evaluation, that. Also the reward management, especially incentives management, that gives a bigger contribution to increase or to achieve strategic goals of the organization. Induction may not be that. Welfare management may not be that important. In job evaluation, pay management may not be that well, but they are important definitely. Each HRM function, if there is something called HR function, that is definitely important. However, some functions are more important, yes. The health and safety nowadays, that has become very important. The labor relations has become, in case of a unionized setting, in case of organizations which are unionized, then the management of labor relations becomes more important. Right, okay. Then we can introduce certain weights and then we can multiply by those weights. Then we can, increase the degree of rigor of the evaluation. We can make the evaluation more sophisticated. Right. Even by increasing several criteria, measuring only one function. But here, most of the cases here, for most of the functions, I used only one criteria to measure. Anyway, practically use of many criteria is difficult, but at least, you have to use certain, good, at least 2 or 3, at least one criteria to measure each HRM function. Okay, so you can, last week, I gave, this one, what is this? Yes, this one. Can you remember? So I presented this one to you last week. Overall intensity index of HRM practices. Here there are 20 questions, if my memory is correct. There's 20 questions. So these 2 questions are general questions, but this one measuring labor relation, this one measuring grievance handling, so likewise. there at least here, there's one statement measuring one HRM function. The first one, job design. So then first question is about, yes, job description, okay, it is about job analysis, not job design. Okay, so here there is no question, but we can add that one also. Then we will improve content validity. There's something called content validity of the instrument. If HRM, if there are 18 HR functions, and if we use an instrument to measure the overall intensity of the HR functions, then at least there must be 18 questions. One question covering one HR functions. Then we can rationally conclude that that measurement has an adequate or sufficient degree of content validity, antargata valangutava. That's a very important type of validity of a measure, of an instrument, of a metric. Different alternative terms, right? Okay, then any questions? Right, now another example. Okay, have a serious look at this. Another example. Following is a set of information collected about quality of HRM. Again, quality of HRM being practiced by ABC firm. Previous example, previous example, this one about HRM functions, but with regard to three organizations. But this one, within the same firm, there is ABC firm, one organization, but 3 years. Every year we can do an evaluation. Then, we will be able to conclude that we have been progressing or we have been declining. The quality of HR functions, the quality of performance of HR functions has been increasing or has been decreasing for 3 years. That we can make a conclusion. By this type of evaluation within the same organization. Okay, these are the for easiness, the same HRM criteria. Same HRM criteria. So then you can see the year-wise. In 2017, this one, employee satisfaction about view elements of job design, 3 out of 5. In 2018, 3.7 out of 5-point scale. Then in 2019, 4.1 out of 5-point scale. Okay, as far as this one is concerned. So what can you say? One finding. Can you generate one finding with regard to this item? Year by year, there has been an increase. There has been an increase. Even percentage of increase you can calculate. Base year you can consider here 3. Then in 2018, 3.7. So that means 7 point, okay, 0.7. Then divided by 3. Then multiplied by 100. Then you can get percentage change. Happen. 7.7 in 2018, compared with 2017. Then here, again, you can calculate, So something, from the base year, you can get 2018 and then the change, between 4.1 and 3.7. That also you can calculate percentage, or you can calculate the difference between 4.1 and 3. Compared with 2017, is there a significant positive change with regard to this item? You can calculate, you can determine, of course, if there is. So in fact, one conclusion is that the quality of job design function has been increasing. Has been increasing. Okay? Right. So then if you give 1 mark for this, then for this we can give 2 marks. Then we can give this 3 marks. These are marks, not ranks, okay? Because there is an increase. Here also there is an increase. But percentage wise also you can do that, but anyway, at least in this way. The number of jobs covered by job description and job specification. Here, no marks, 0. Then we can give here 1 mark, 30%. Here we can give 3 marks because, 90%. The positive change between this and this is what? Is 60%. Then you can give 3 marks for. So if you give 30% for one, then 90% we have to give 3. Be logical. So anyway, qualitatively, okay, not qualitatively, quantitatively, so you can see that there is a vast improvement with regard to the quality of job analysis function. Then any surplus or shortage happen here. So you can see an improvement because the number has been reducing. If the number has been reducing, that means the quality of human resource planning function has been increasing. That's been increasing. Okay, all right. Or even you can introduce minus marks or something, It's okay. There are no hard rules for the evaluation. Right. Then the percentage of employees selected based on validated selection methods. Of course, this one, 100%. The maximum, value was obtained by the company in this year, 2019. Very good. So even we can have, criteria like, and then we can evaluate. We can evaluate maybe between, can you remember, between 81 and 100, we can give, how many marks we can give? How many marks? So maximum, depending on, if we introduce weights, then weights also we can consider. This one is selection. So assume 10. Or we can give 20, right? Very important function. Then 80, 61. No, 16. So if we develop, for 14, sorry, 5 standards. I think this one, we have, so then in order to save time, we can have standards and then we can give marks for this. Okay, let me finish. Okay, this one, maybe some people, right now the 40, the 60. So let me do like this. 61, 80, 41, 12, 1, I assume 0 is impossible, okay, then 20. I hope you understood. Okay, then now we can give marks for this one. How many marks? 4. This one, how many marks? 12. This one, how many marks? 20. That means has been increasing tremendously. There's a vast improvement with regard to the quality of selection function. Okay, first you can develop a scheme of evaluation by using criteria regarding each, standards, 5 standards, and then we can evaluate. Okay, then percentage of new employees inducted, you can see there is an improvement. This one also improvement. This one also improvement. This one also, an improvement. This one also an improvement. This one, yes. This one improved, yes. This one, again, just for all, employee movement, availability of a scheme for each type of employee movement. Can you understand the meaning of this criteria? Some people may not. Each type of employee movement. So assume, how do you get this one? One movement is promotions. Promotions. Another movement is transfers. Another movement is retirement. Another movement is retrenchment. Another movement is what? Terminations or dismissal. So so therefore there must be a scheme for each. So then you can get the average. Even we can introduce a quantitative value here. Simply qualitative yes for first level managerial movements. So that means for these, all these schemes are available for this category of employees, first level managerial movements. Then yes for non-managerial employees. Then yes for all. Therefore, employee wise, we can consider. If there are 5 categories, then, for each category, there must be schemes for each type of employee movement in order to get, 100 for the full value. So therefore, if you are intelligent quantitatively, and also, of course, the human resource theory wise, then you must be able to develop a kind of a scheme of measurement to get a value, for this criteria. But yes, for all means, for all the categories, there are 5 categories. Then for each category, there are schemes for each type of employee movement. So therefore, this is the best situation, the highest level that an organization can reach, under the quality of employee movement function. Likewise, please understand employees' rating of quality of health and safety management. Of course, it has been increasing. This one's percentage of employees who have not violated a single rule has been increasing. Only 2 people. Here, 60%. Terrible. It's a very bad situation, In some cases, for this discipline management function, we have to give a high weightage. But this really, it's not real like, training and development. It's not like incentive management, directly improving productivity. But, if we have many problems in terms of discipline, then, we have to give a higher weightage to this function, discipline management. The ideal situation is percentage of employees who have not violated a single rule of discipline should be, who have not violated, who have not, percentage of employees who have not violated a single rule of discipline. 60%, 30%, 2%. I think I made a mistake. Here, if you consider this as it is, then there's a serious decline really. Only 2 people, who have not violated. That's very bad. So therefore, can you understand the mistake here? But if we consider this not as a mistake, then, of course, year-wise, I mean, the quality of employee discipline management function has been declining. It's very bad situation here now. But we don't know what has happened to, productivity, what has happened to legal cases, legal compliance, customer compliance, productivity, customer satisfaction, wastage. We don't know. Compensation. So therefore, right, let me, make it more realistic, because for all these, here we can see, there are improvements with regard to all the criteria. So therefore, let me change this way. Percentage of employees who have violated, who have not violated, or who have violated a single rule, then let me, who have violated, percentage of employees who have violated a single rule of, who have not violated, let me see. Not violated, then this one, let's say 45, this one 60, this one 90. Okay, now, so only 2 people, by 2019, only 2 people have violated. 98 people have not violated a single rule. Great situation in terms of employee discipline. Okay, all right. Here also there is an improvement. The number of industry action occurs none, so that means very good, excellent, and improvement. Okay, all right. With weights and without weights, we can do the evaluation. And then we can conclude, overall we can conclude that there's a significant improvement with regard to overall quality of HRM function. Because there is a significant improvement with regard to each HRM function considered here. Then overall also, that's a significant improvement. So that means the quality of HRM overall has been increasing. Right, then we can praise the people who are involved, and then we can even give certain rewards, including recognition, praise, feedback, and financial things, so as to maintain at least this quality or genuinely to improve further. Because there are rooms for further improvements. Here should be 100%, ideally 100%. It should be. Here also 0. Here 100% right. Here 100%. Excellent, Harry. Then the number of hours of training is this here, value, maybe 5 here. Quality of grade at least 4.9 or 4.8. So we can improve. Here also 4.5 for the next year. Maybe for even regarding these things, HR department, we can introduce MBO system. Management by objective to HR department. And with regard to these criteria, they can develop objectives. For example, for the next year, the objective is to prepare JD and JS for all the jobs available within the organization, or to make, or to come, or to get, to get 100% value for the number of jobs covered by, covered by job description and job specific. For the number of jobs covered by job description and specification. That is an objective that can be established by the HR, by the CEO, and given to HR department to achieve. You see, then how good, how useful an evaluation will be. I know that, many Sri Lankan organizations, they don't do. Anyway, it is not my problem. It is their problem. But don't, undermine the quality of the knowledge of HR. That is very big. That is very comprehensive. That is educate to achieve excellence, of managing the work of managing people at work in an organization. Okay, all right. Now, let us have a break now. 5 minutes. A break for 5 minutes. Okay, now shall we restart? Now another learning unit subtopic: human resource scorecard, HR scorecard. The relevant big question here is: does HRM contribute to achievement of strategic goals of the organization? In order to get an answer which is quantitative, we have to use a quantitative framework that is labeled as HR scorecard. So HR scorecard is an evaluative technique, or it is a technique of evaluation that attempts to get a more quantitative answer for this question. So it's a framework that links HRM with strategic objectives and shows the causal link between HRM and strategic objectives in a quantitative way. You know, the top people, top managers, they will ultimately judge the HRM function based on whether it creates value for the organization. Look at here, the Dessler's right in here. Observation. The management ultimately judges the HR function based on whether it creates value. It creates value for the organization. Where value creation means contributing in a measurable way to achieving the organization's strategic goals. Hence, the HR scorecard is an evaluative approach that shows how HRM creates value for the organization. Does HRM create value for the organization? Indeed, it does. Then how to show that HRM does create value for the HRM? One approach is this HR scorecard. HR scorecard derives from work of Professor Robert Kaplan and David P. Norton on balanced scorecard perspective, usually found in management accounting. So you can read, Kaplan and Norton's explanation. You can read this one. Kaplan and Norton explain that satisfaction is a prerequisite for improvement in productivity, quality, responsiveness, and customer service. They note that the relationship with customer service is straightforward, as satisfied employees tend to have more satisfied customers. They also endorse annual surveys of employee satisfaction or monthly rolling surveys of sample of the workforce. Similarly, they endorse the measurement of employee retention for its importance in preserving the organization's investments in human capital. Because of employee retention, it is possible to preserve organizations' investments in intellectual capital. If employee turnover happens, then it is difficult to preserve the organization's investment in human capital. So this explanation presents two major criteria for HRM evaluation. First one, job satisfaction. Second one, employee retention. So therefore, that's why normally for any type, for when it comes to HRM evaluation, there are certain criteria that we can use, but we should not forget these two criteria: job satisfaction and employee retention. Okay, then Dessler's, this one, so very useful writing here. Normally, if you refer to several books, which have writing about HR scorecard, they present different types of HR scorecards. Okay, so some, are difficult to understand, but anyway, what I am presenting is something that I developed, but mainly based on Distler's approach. So my approach is not really the Distler's approach, but thanks to him, so that was a base. That was a base because his approach is interesting. So if you refer to his book, you will be able to, get the relevant descriptions and explanations with examples. Right. Okay, then, so now there are 7 steps that you have to learn if you are supposed to develop an appropriate HR scorecard. So now we are going to evaluate the linkage between HRM and the strategy. Also the impact of HRM on the strategy. Now for that we have to have develop an appropriate HR scorecard, to develop which we should follow 7 steps. Step 1, ascertain the strategic needs of the organization. Here ascertain means finding and establishing the strategic needs of the organization. Okay, so what are strategic needs? Mainly 3: vision, mission, and the strategic objectives of the organization, or strategic goals. Don't worry about terms, goals or objectives. So vision, mission, and strategic objectives. So therefore, strategic needs are the most important needs, and they should get the highest priority. Not departmental needs, not job needs are the most important. Overall organizational needs or the strategic needs are the most important. So therefore, all other needs of the organization are subordinate. The strategic needs become superordinate. As far as the strategic period is concerned, what is the strategic period? The time of the strategic plan, maybe 3 years to come or 5 years to come in future. Strategic objectives derive from mission and vision. Hence, it is essential to study and understand the strategic objectives of the organization. Yes, before doing other steps. Okay, this is my example. Assume that our organization is a medium-sized hotel, name of which is Hotel Candy. What is the vision of the hotel? That hotel to become the best hotel in Candy and one of the best hotels in Sri Lanka. That's the vision. Then the one strategic objectives of the hotel is this: to attain a 90% customer excellence satisfaction rating of the hospitality service of the Hotel Candy by 2007. It's okay now, no need to change years, but I think you can understand. Then another strategic objective is to increase the total profit by 50% for the 3 years from 2005 to 2007. 2005, 2006, and 2007. To increase the total profit by 50% for the 3 years. Okay, right. Then the second objective. So assume we understood the strategic needs of the organization, especially strategic objectives. Then, as the second step, we have to identify strategic metrics. So strategic metrics are defined as statistics used to measure the degree of success of accomplishment of the strategic objectives. Statistics used to measure the degree of success of accomplishment of the strategic objectives of the organization. So therefore, strategic metrics measure the degree of success of accomplishment or achievement of the strategic objectives of the organization. Okay, so they focus on measuring strategically required organizational outcomes. There must be at least one strategic matrix to measure the degree of achievement of one strategic objective. Okay, in our example, here there are 2 strategic objectives. So this is first objective for for measuring the degree of success of achieving this objective. At least we have to have one strategic metric. Okay, look at this one. That is customer satisfaction index. So we measure that, summated rating, that is summated rating received on a 20 item, 5-point Likert scale. That's a strategic matrix with regard to the first objective. Then the second objective, with regard to second objective, strategic metric is percentage increase of the annual profit. Percentage increase of the annual profit. Okay, all right. Then third step, identify strategic HR metrics. Now HR metrics. HR metrics is strategic HR metrics, not functional HR metrics. That is another type. So strategic HR metrics, are relating to objectives of HR, goals of HR. So therefore, they are measures of statistics, used to measure the degree of success of accomplishment of the strategic goals and objectives of HRM. Can you remember? According to my model of HR, strategic goals, employee productivity, legal compliance, employee development, customer compliance, quality of work life. Can you remember? Then objectives, several objectives. So therefore, these strategic HR metrics focus on measuring quantity and quality of human resource requirements needed to achieve the strategic objectives of the organization. So they cover the strategically relevant employee competencies. Can you remember? Last week, strategy-oriented HR system. 4 types of human requirements I discussed. Employee competencies, then work-related attitudes, employee behaviors, and results. Okay, now go to the continued example. Then competency inventory index, that is one strategic matrix. Okay, that is relating to, that can be used for measuring the availability and quantity of competencies. Competencies, employee competencies. We can have metrics relating to work-related attitudes like job engagement, organizational commitment. Okay, so they then measures given in Exhibit 2112 are considered as strategic HR metrics. I have given many examples. Okay, go to table 21.3. Values of the matrix at the beginning. Okay, at the beginning before that. Okay, these are the strategic matrix examples. These are the strategic HR metrics. You see many metrics. You can see many HR metrics. The strategic HR metric, rate of tardiness, rate of absenteeism, rate of employee turnover. So like, please study, please study. I can't deal with everything. You are advanced students, so you must be able to do that. Then fourth step, that one, identify strategic HR matrix. Now identify functional HR matrix. They are related to HR functions. They attempt to measure the degree of successful performance of HR functions. Okay, this is about the degree of systematic usage of each HRM function. They attempt to measure intensity of each HR functions being applied in the organization. So I did 2 examples now before coming to this one. Those 2 examples have many examples of HR functional matrix. Okay, right. Then step 5, determine values of the matrix at the outset. No, without values at the beginning, we can't do a meaningful evaluation. Therefore, it is essential to have values at the beginning, because an evaluation is done for a certain period of time. there must be beginning, there must be ending. Okay, so for the beginning there must be values, at the end also there must be values. Then these values, at the beginning and at the end can be compared so as to have a meaningful evaluation to determine whether there is a decline or there is a development. Here, what is to be done is to collect data and calculate values under each metric. Okay, go to this, for this proper recording is a must, as you know. This is an example, table 21.3, values of the matrix at the beginning, year 2004. You can see here strategic matrix, then strategic HRM matrix, then you can see the value at the beginning, then functional HRM matrix. Okay, right. Then determine values of the matrix at the end also. Now, after the period has passed. Okay, what is to be done here is to collect data and calculate values under each metric as done for getting the beginning values. Now, for example, this one, right, complaints about the wrong calculation of page 34. And then next year, the relevant year, the base year here, what is the base year, the beginning year 2004. 2004, and then you can see the relevant values for 3 years. Values of the matrix, years 2005, 2006, and 2007. Okay, all right. And then, so as per the table, it is possible to see that there are considerable changes. So in fact, positive with regard to each metric. So you can see, take overall intensity index of HR. There has been an increase, which is positive, year by year, or for all the 3 years. Even at the beginning, overall intensity index, what is the overall intensity index at the beginning? 3.3. Okay, so then what you have to do is number 7, right? Determine values of the matrix at the end, at the 6th step. Now the 7th step, last step, that is 7. Compare and determine the link and the impact. Now the values at the beginning we got, then each year at the end we got. And the values at the beginning need to be compared with the values at the end in order to determine variances. So these variances may be negative, that means a decline, or positive, that shows an improvement. So therefore, if HRM is done in better way, what is the nature of variances that we can expect? Positive. If HRM is done or was done in bad way, then negative, declines. So in fact, the organization is supposed to formulate and implement good HRM strategies. We have to modify, we have to discontinue, we have to introduce new schemes, right, to make expected impacts on the organizational resource, various resource outcomes. Right, then correlation analysis we can do. Sorry. Multiple regression analysis we can do. Other types of statistical analysis we can do to determine the linkage or link and also the impact. Okay, so we can have a link, we can determine quantitative the linkage between strategic HRM and functional HRM. We can determine the linkage between strategic matrix and strategic HRM matrix. For example, the linkage between percentage of customer excellence rating and competence inventory index. Another example, linkage between or relationship between percentage increase of the annual profit and job involvement index or job satisfaction index. So likewise, then the impact, impact of competency inventory index on overall intensity index of HRM practices, number of complaints about job. So likewise, many linkages we can develop. Then the impact of many, many variables or many criteria on other criteria we can calculate. So what I have shown here is, yes, continued example. Assume that calculation of the values of matrix were done accurately at the end of the 3 years of the strategic plan, 2005, 6, and 7. And the relevant values are given in table 21.4, right? Okay. Then, right. Okay, so we can say it indicates that the hotel took a very serious effort to improve its HR because many positive changes with regard to each metric we can see. So then, the company took took a serious effort to improve its HRM, so that, resulted in positive results under each HRM metric, and also the strategic HRM metric, functional HRM metric, and also the strategic HRM metric. Right. For example, take competency index. What is that? A strategic HRM metric, and also number of hours of training received by employees per year. That's a functional HRM metric. Linkage, we can establish. We can see whether there's a serious positive linkage, significant linkage between these two variables, competency and the training, hours of training. Then correlation, coefficient, we can calculate. So I have mentioned here, I have done it, but I have not shown the calculations, for the reason of the space. So that is, 0.98. So you have to use that correlation coefficient formula, product moment correlation coefficient formula. Okay, so let me show, how to do it, because I think you should, okay, let me show like this. Okay, we have here years. Here we can take year. Then here we have number of hours of training. Then here we have competence index. Competence index, competence, we can use certain things to measure the competence index. Subjectively, we can measure it. Also, to a great extent, objectively also, we can do that. So I'm not here to, to show that how competence index is done. Normally, we can calculate qualifications of the employees, then the different skills of the employees. Then we can give, marks, and then we can give the final value for competence index. Right. So here the 2004, starting year, then 2005, 2006, 2007. And the number of hours of training, from the table, from the beginning table you can get it, that is 30. Then from the end table, the other table that gives the values at the end, 50 in 2005, then 60 in 2006, then 77 in 2007. So therefore, continuously the company has been increasing the number of hours of training. Then what will happen to competence index? Okay, 3.0 beginning at the beginning, then 3.4, 3.4, then 3.9, 3.9, then 4.2. So obviously you can see there is an increase. When this gets increased, this also gets increased. Then now correlation, you can calculate. Now that is 0.99, 99 or 98, it is 0.98. You can do that at leisure. 98. Okay, so likewise, you can calculate so many things. For if you are doing research, of course everyone must be doing research now. So if you have used the hypothetical deductive approach, then at least there are two variables for your research. Then you are going to show whether they are significantly related or not. Maybe if there are three variables, then the impact of two independent variables on one dependent variable, maybe. So like guys, in many ways, we can calculate, we can develop linkages and then calculate, and then we can show quantitatively the impact of HRM on especially specific HR matrix, strategic matrix. Then only we can show that HRM contributes to achieve strategic goals of the organization. Quantitatively, we must be able to calculate that percentage of variance of this one. How much, what is the contribution of this one on this one on this one on this. So likewise. Okay. Let me show you. Hopefully, I have never done this through the Zoom. SPSS. Hopefully, I will be able to do. Can you see? Can you see this one? One can unmute and respond. Yes, dear student, one can unmute. Can you see this one?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Hello, can you see?
Yes, sir.
Are you all right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, very good. Right. Okay, then this is this is a file, SPSS file. So normally you should know this SPSS. Perhaps you have already known. I wish I could teach, but many years ago I did teaching SPSS to you, especially not to you. Sorry, to previous students, past students. Because of my busyness, then later that was assigned to another certain lecturers. I hope you have done at least one session or two sessions. Okay, then this one, based on research data, of one of my students. So the SPSS, the data editor, this is called data editor. So normally, how did you get these values, So first, you have to go to variable, view, and then you have to define variables. question 1, question 2, like, can you remember? Okay, if you have already have developed a questioning, and then question 1, question 2, you have to define the name, then the type, with decimals, label, decimal with, they automatically come. So let me show. Right. Okay. See, then the data view. This is data view. This is data view. Question 1. These are respondent 1. Here you can see respondent 1, respondent 2, respondent 3, respondent 4. So likewise. Then these are the questions. These are the questions. And then, what are the variables here? So if there are 10 questions measuring one variable, then you have to do, what you call composite indexing. Totaling, we have to do, and then we have to get one value. This is, this is job satisfaction, 5-point scale. This one, job satisfaction. This one, this one, another, this one, what is this? Okay, you can see the job satisfaction, this one, then the JP, okay, union participation here. So this one, union participation, trade, employees' participation in union activities, this one. That is one variable here. Then this one, job satisfaction. This one, job satisfaction. So then how to calculate, the relationship between these two? You can go to analyze, and then you can go to correlate, and then you can go to bivariate. Bivariate, because there are two variables here. At a time, we consider two variables. And then that is called bivariate. For a quantitative analysis, if we consider only one variable and at a time, that is called univariate. For an analysis, if we consider more than two variables at a time, that is called multivariate. Okay, then bivariate. So you will get a box like this, and then job satisfaction, you will click here. Then union participation, 5-point scale, you have to click here. Then you have to use, it automatically comes, Pearson. We don't use this one and this one. So Pearson, correlation coefficient. The test of significance here, it depends on the nature of the hypothesis. If the hypothesis has a direction, then we have to use one-tail test. If the hypothesis has no direction, then we have to use two-tail test. Hopefully, you have, I think you have studied these things. For example, of a directional hypothesis, there's a positive, okay, there's a negative relationship between job satisfaction and union participation. That is a directional hypothesis. An indirectional hypothesis is, there is a relationship, there is a significant relationship between job participation and job satisfaction. It says that there's a relationship, which is a significant one, but it doesn't give the direction, whether it is positive or negative. If the hypothesis doesn't give a direction, then it is a non-directional hypothesis that needs two-tail test. But if it gives a direction, that needs only one tail, one tail, that normal curve. Then you remember the normal curve on which the science of statistics is based on. So right. Then, okay. Here you got, so within seconds, few seconds, you can get so you can see here, look at this one, there's a relationship. That is 0.892, which is negative. That means there is a linkage which is negative between these two variables. But these two variables, remember, I have not taken from HR scorecard examples, okay, tables. This is a separate file, of a student, who did the research under my supervision. You can consider here, okay, I show you this one, right? There is this, okay, right, this one. Okay, with this simple example, this one, let me show you how to calculate correlation. You have to introduce a new variable. Okay, that is, years. Now, we can put here the new variable number of hours, right? Number of hours, NH. Okay, numeric. Then you have to give the label here. Number of hours of training. Okay, so then values also you can give. If you click here, you can say 1 stand for, then 2 stand for, 3 stand for, 5-point scaling. But here there's not directly the values I can put. But when you actually do, there must be values. Right. Okay, then the second variable here, opening second variable, competency index. CI stand for competency index. Then the label, competency index, right. Okay, now go to, we are on variable view. Now we have to go to data view in order to put numbers. Now you can see here, there are 2 columns here, right side, representing those 2 variables. Okay, now I have to give the values here. 2004. So I consider here the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, years. Here respondents, but here years. So therefore 30. 2004, 30. Then 50, 2005, then 60, number of hours of training in 2006, then in 2007, the number of hours of training, 77. The number was 77 or number of hours were 77. Okay, right. Was, were, depending on what you want to stress. Right. Then here the 2004, 3 point. Then 3.4, 2005. Then 3.9, 2006. Then 4.2. Right. Now, I have already, entered the figures. Very easy because this is a simple example. All this, in order to get these values very difficult, then we have to calculate, For example, to get this value, assume there are 10 items, then you have to, enter 10 items, and then you have to do composite indexing or calculate, totaling, and then you have to. But now, the easy, already we got the values for the variables. Okay, now let me show you how to calculate the linkage between the two, correlation coefficient. Go to analyze here, then go to correlate, and then go to bivariate. Then here, Okay, because this is the earlier working now. So then you have to reset. Then earlier working, vanished. Okay, now you have to number of hours you have to put here. Then competence index you have to put here. Then it's okay, test of significant 2 tail, 1 tail, or we can put 1 tail. So negative relationship we expect between the two. You see? No. Here the negative, not negative relationship is, sorry. Here we expect a positive relationship. You can see here from, so even my calculation here, 0.98. How did I get it? Can see 0.98. Okay, positive relationship, because this is number of hours of training and the competence index. When we increase number of hours, we expect increased competency. So therefore, there is a significant, strong, correlation is significant at the 0.01 level, 1 tail test. That means 99% level of significance, 99%. That means if you take, 100 cases, for 99 cases, we are going to find this correlation coefficient. The chance of missing, the chance, only 1%. It's not, by chance, we didn't get this value. If we get this value by chance, it is only less than 0.01. That's the meaning of this. Oh, I think you know that, how to interpret this. That means if there are 100 cases, for 99 cases, this value, the found value is going to be true. So therefore, we are more confident. 2 stars, or if there is 1 star, that means the correlation is significant at the level of 0.05 level, 95% confidence level. But here there are 2 stars. 2 stars. 2 stars mean even at the 99% level, this correlation coefficient is significant. So therefore, this is very high level. 0.98 means very high level. Even though if we get 0.7, 0.6 also, that is enough. In HRM, because HRM is not a natural science. If this value is 0.7 or above, so very good correlation. Okay, so we can run even multiple regression also. Then there must be several variables, one dependent variable and several independent variables. Then how to run multiple regression, analyze. Then you can go regression, then the linear one. You have to click linear. Then you have to put the dependent variable here from this. Then independent variables. Okay, if the dependent variable here is job, customer satisfaction, but here I don't have data. So here the customer satisfaction, then the independent one, several, competency index, line manager satisfaction of services or HR. So likewise, several, variables we can put here, and then we can test the impact of each one on this one, and also the overall impact, joint, combined impact of all these independent variables on this one. Okay, so if you want to get descriptive values, okay, multivariate, not univariate analysis. If you want to get, for your research, you have to do that. You have to go to this, descriptive statistics, then mean values or compare means. Also, you can calculate means, frequencies. Yeah, if you go to frequencies, let me show you one thing, I like. Okay, this one, let us take this one. This variable, then go to statistics, then click mean. Then standard deviation, usually useful. Then the range, useful. You can check whether your file is correct or not. That is the difference between maximum and minimum. Then you can, okay, mean is enough because the level of measurement is interval, not ordinal, not nominal. In case of level of measurement is ordinal measurement or ratio measurement. Normally, many HR things, in order to measure, we can use interval scale. By then continue. Then we can prepare, if we can get charts, easy to get bar charts. Then frequencies, percentages we can put here. Then continue. Then okay. Okay, you can see here statistics, mean is 3.97, more than average. What is the question items? I believe my job is secure. That is one question items which leads to measure job satisfaction. Then you can say the frequency table. How many, as a person, how many people out of, okay, to overall the population, the sample, not population. The sample, 74. There are 74 respondents. Then out of 74, 6 people gave the response, disagree. 20 people gave the response, strongly agree. Agree, 38 people, majority. As a percentage, 51.4. Okay, you can go to bar chart. There is no single person who tells that strongly disagree. No single person. But for other, levels, out of 5 levels, 4 levels, there are responses. This is the longest one, the tallest one, indicating the mean value. Then what is the, the deviation, dispersion? That is given by the standard deviation. If it is usually if it is less than, the value is less than 0.1, then, majority of the employees, are centered with the mean value. Dispersion is not that much. Okay, so I'm not teaching statistics, but anyway, you must have learned this one. But anyway, that's the refreshing, to a certain extent. Okay, all right. Any questions? Any questions? Right now, I now go to case. That is strategic HRM in academic setting. This is a long case, which is an actual case. In fact, which is directly relevant to my performance. As at a time when I was working as the head of the department of HRM. I served, as the head of the department for 5 years, and purposefully I dropped, declined. Otherwise, I would have been served for many years as the head, but no point, as far as my objectives are concerned. Okay, then, so you can see strategic HRM in academic setting. It was, the day back, it was the date of March 2004. When I got the headship and all, please read, it's a long case. Now I can't do all things, but normally some information about the history, and then, when I took the headship, there were many problems relating to a state university system in Sri Lanka. So like, Sri Lanka universities have not become world-class universities, and have not been rated on good places of international rankings of universities. There is one big comment, disapproval, expressed by the, those parties in his speech and writing. now stakeholders, including the government. Then graduates of the Sri Lanka universities are not employable, especially in the private sector. Many graduates do not possess competencies required by the employers in the private sector. The university teaching is not based on skills development. It is more on knowledge development. It is too theoretical. The majority of the students of the universities are not self-disciplined. Another big problem we have. And are not people of good character. The university teachers are not knowledge creators, rather than just knowledge disseminators. Majority of teachers do not do research and publish resource materials. Most of the university teachers have not gained industry recognition. And all these comments were negative, and which came to my mind. And then, a lot of things I was able to do. So then you can see some aspects of the strategic plan for the Department of HRM, which I prepared many years ago from, exactly from June 2004 to June 2007. You can see the department's philosophy. Then you can see the several pillars. Then you can see the department's vision, the department's mission statement. Okay, then results of the self-evaluation of the performance by June 2004 of the department. You are not aware, of course, because this is about history, We had a great history, but before that, we had many problems. And then you can see areas, strategic areas. Normally in a business organization, profit-oriented, key resource areas. So likewise here, undergraduate teaching is one key resource area. In order to measure, the success of this area, these are the strategic metrics, developed at that time. Percentage of students excellent rating of teaching. At the beginning, only 60 people gave the 60%, gave excellent rating. Then overall quality of teaching index, only 2.7 out of 5. Then overall quality of teaching by peers, 2.5. Then percentage of lectures scheduled but not held, 26.6, it's a big value. That means almost 27 lectures were cancelled out of 100 lectures, scheduled and never done. Then quality and quantity of the curriculum, you use certain ways of measuring and then got 3 out of 5. Then percentage of students who were happy with the goodness of the curriculum, only 28, they were happy. Percentage of the courses for which study manuals or teaching materials are available, only 40.2.8, 14. So likewise, then postgraduate teaching, another key resource area. Availability, that was the criteria, no such teaching. Then researching, number of published research papers, only 90. Then the number of public research articles per academic, that is productivity, per academic, only 1.74. That's a very shameful figure. Then availability of research journal published, no, nothing. So likewise. The number of research supervision postgraduate completed, only 10. Right. So then the publishing, number of textbook published too. So likewise, another area. Then consulting, another area. The recognitions, another area. Then graduates, another area. Average number of graduates passed out annually. Then percentage of the number of employers who perceive the quality of our graduate as very positive, only 10%. We did a survey. Surprisingly, we got 10%. It's very bad. Then percentage of students whose waiting time for first job is within 6 months, 69%. So the percentage of students whose waiting time for first job is within 6 months, 69%. Only yes, how many? 70, yes. 31%. The students, were able to get jobs without waiting for 6 months after graduation. For the first job, waiting time. Can you understand this one? Percentage of students whose waiting time for first job is within 6 months. In order to get the first job, they had to wait, for 6 months. Right, student demand also at that time, right? We got 5th place. Percentage of students whose preference is first for HR, only 60%. But at that time also that this value is a big value, but anyway, right. Okay, then these are the strategies that I took. Mainly I followed growth strategy, and many things you can read, if the time permits. So these were the objectives that I have established. Objectives relating to criteria, objectives. Management by objective. We must have objectives, specific objective using smart approach. So anyway, at least it's, specific measurable objective. Then the composition of the academic staff at that time. Then these are other strategies, train junior staff seriously and all these things. Because of the time limitation, So these are many strategies. These are, many strategies you can see. Then finally, see, after implementing various strategies, we got these results, these values with regard to these criteria. Year 1, year 2, and year 3. Continuous improvement, continuous improvement, continuous improvement. Percentage of lectures scheduled but not held, 20%, 13.3, 6.6. These are only for 3 years. Then my 5th year, because I managed for 5 years, then the 5th year I was able to get it, into 0 or point something or 1. Only 1 lecture was cancelled, Of course, I followed, various strategies, including autocratic leadership. I am a man, who followed autocratic leadership. Normally, I don't follow democratic leadership due to various reasons. Then postgraduate teaching. Yes. So we did that. The number of research papers published, all these, you can see. Availability of research journal published in my first year, still not. In the second year, still not. Then by 3rd year, it was. So likewise, then the recognition awards from industry, none. Then second year, 2. Then in the 4th, by 3rd year, we were able to get 4 recognitions. Then the award of quality assurance by any recognized quality assurance council, that is UGC, none. Then in the 3rd year, it was possible to get. So likewise, even you can see the quality assurance report, the results, and then even the results, this report, a special note, this quality assurance council gave, the relevant, the evaluation committee. So you can read that. We got the best, the highest for how many? 6 dimensions, 6 areas. Only 2 areas we got satisfactory and satisfactory. According to evaluation criteria, there was no standard called excellent. You can see here. The members of the review team wish to state that according to guidelines issued by the QAA Council, there's no other higher grading than good can be awarded for any of these aspects under review in this exercise. Had there been provisions to assign any other grade equivalent to or higher than excellent, we unanimously would have decided to assign that grade with no hesitation. for majority of aspects reviewed, as they had shown excellent performance in those areas. Okay, so then what do you call it? Teaching, learning and assessment methods, skills development, those areas. Then it is unfortunate that we have no other option other than assigning a good. Even so, good was at that time the highest level. Then even for the aspects which had shown exemplary best performance according to the evaluators. Then so we are compelled to adhere to the requirements stipulated by the authorities, and with great reluctance, we assign good for majority of aspects in this exercise. It is also worth recording that if any aspect under review has got any grading below good, it was not because of the lapse on the part of the work performed by the department, but due to the lapses beyond the control of the department. Okay, so then we practice strategic HRM. We used kind of HR scorecard or business scorecard by using 8 key resource areas. Okay, so the dear students, you can read and then try to understand an actual case. Right, so then measurement is very, very important. If you want to succeed, do measure. If you don't do measurements, forget about succeeding, achieving success and achieving progress of success. Okay, so likewise in HRM, this is a very important function now, even though many organizations do not do that. Anyway, no wonder we are in a developing setting, in some cases underdeveloped. Okay, this is online teaching, so therefore I don't like to reserve some comments. Any questions before finishing? We are now I am approaching now the end of the lecture. Okay, then this is enough. And next week also we will meet through the Zoom to do another topic. And then good night.